for the territory. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to Fox News.
The actual idea of allowing first Gazans who want to leave. I mean, what's wrong with that? They can leave. They can then come back. They can relocate and come back, but you have to rebuild Gaza.
The Trump administration has already dialed back aspects of the proposal after it was widely rejected internationally, saying the relocation of Palestinians would be temporary. In the Senate, Connecticut Democrat Chris Murphy says this is a Trump distraction.
What's the craziest thing I could say? What's the most insane thing I could say? Because I don't want people to talk about Elon Musk and my billionaire friends stealing folks' money. So he said this thing about Gaza.
Egypt wants to try to head off the Gaza plan. A vote is expected today in the Senate on President Trump's nomination of Russ Vought as White House budget director. Oregon Democrat Jeff Merkley says Vought is one of Trump's most dangerous nominees.
When you put into the Office of Management and Budget an individual who willfully avoids and rolls over the laws of the country and says he will not abide by the separation of powers, that is a fundamental danger that all of us, having taken an oath to the Constitution, must stop.
Today is the deadline for federal employees to decide if they want to accept a buyout from the Trump administration. International naval drills around the Philippines involving the U.S. has prompted complaints from China. A federal judge who already questioned the constitutionality of President Trump's birthright citizenship executive order is set to hear arguments over a longer-term pause. Honeywell, one of the few remaining U.S. conglomerates, says it will split into 3 companies. This is AP News. The racial gap is widening in deaths among moms around the time of childbirth. Here's the AP's Ben Thomas.
Black women in the U.S. died around the time of childbirth at a rate nearly 3.5 times higher than white women in 2023. The latest federal health data show the racial gap in maternal mortality widening from about 2.6 times in 2021 and 2022. Drawing from death certificates, the CDC counted women who died while pregnant, during childbirth, and up to 42 days after birth, with accidental deaths excluded. Excessive bleeding, blood vessel blockages, and infections are leading causes. The 2023 numbers were below pre-pandemic levels overall, and one expert suggests while COVID-19 had an impact on all pregnant women, the post-pandemic return to normal also included the factors that drive the racial gap. I'm Ben Thomas.
And I'm Ed Donahue.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. Breezy winds out of the west increase to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 21. Friday, mostly cloudy, high around 31 degrees. Saturday, chance for snow, high of 32. By Sunday, partial sunshine will see high around 30. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 32.
Save big money on Menard's great selection of automotive products. Goodyear Reveal wiper blades have an all-metal frame for added durability. Their blades feature a precision-cut wiping element to ensure your windshield is streak-free. Plus, they're easy to install using a pre-attached universal adapter that fits most vehicles. Pick up Goodyear wiper blades on sale now through February 9th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Thursday morning, progressives, and welcome to the February 6, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278, Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, Twitter Stream, iHeart, all that good stuff. Riding with my man Henry this morning. Email me at richard@wcpt.com. 820.com. Glad to be with you, and always catch our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And that's where you can get Choose Views, short version and long version. Of course, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, driving it home with Patty Vasquez. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows and interviews. Check out our heartlandsignal.com digital platform. Lots of good stuff there. Hey, guys, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Choose Views, and it was so cool to be here and get all the nice comments and calls and text messages from folks. It was really a blessing, and I appreciate that, and excited about today being day 1 of year 2, and forward we go to bring you guys the best that we've got, and making sure that you have a place to land your plane of concerns and thoughts and feelings and all the rest, and suggestions and commentary, contributions to help us all do a better job and fight and fight and fight. And most definitely be able to stay connected in community. That is the answer. That is the first step. Check yourself and then find somebody to connect with. Simple stuff. Maybe not easy, but simple. And so to that end, today we have some folks that are going to be with us as guests. Excuse me. We have Rich Logis and Courtney Rae, who are with us to talk about Leaving MAGA. You'll want to tune in for that. And that's in the 7 o'clock hour. In the 7:30 hour, we have Jahmal Cole with us, who is quite an amazing young man. My block, my hood, my city. And as I mentioned to you guys on Tuesday, I was at an event, WTTW broadcast with Mayor Johnson and panelist. And Jahmal was one of the folks there. So he'll be with us this morning at 7:30. And the reason that I mention it that way is he talks about community. He is a community organizer, and he will talk about that among other things. But it'll be great to hear from all three of our guests this morning. Looking forward to bringing that to you. We have a couple of interesting clips that you guys, I think, will appreciate in this fight that we're in. And excuse me. Right now, I think that I don't know. I guess the way I'll put it is that the Democrats are trying to come together to create some sort of a firewall. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that this morning and some of the things that are happening and some of the things that certain groups are doing and other actual unions are doing in this pushback. So we'll get to that in a bit. But I want to hear from you this morning. And both by text and by phone. We'll get the lines open in a little bit. But for now, let me tell you a little bit about the rest of the day. Make sure you check out Joan Esposito's show today. From 2 to 5, she'll be taking your calls, talking to Michael Kelly, professor at Creighton University in Omaha. Michael Jones, national political correspondent and founder of the Once Upon a Hill newsletter and Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Also, on Friday's show, Joan will be joined by Rebecca Little and Colleen Long, authors of I'm Sorry for My Loss, an urgent examination of reproductive care in America. Live, local, and progressive, weekdays, 2 to 5 p.m. Joan Esposito, WCPT 820. And tonight, 5 to 7, is Patty Vasquez, and she'll be joined by Reed McCollum, chair of the Democratic Party of DuPage County, and Rebecca Martin Fagerholm, managing director of Cinema Femme magazine and the festival director of Cinema Femme Short Film Festival. And on Friday's show, Patty will be joined by Rebecca Williams and James Johnson, organizers for Fair Vote Illinois, driving it home with Patty Vasquez, 5 to 7 p.m. here on WCPT. And we're going to put this out here another couple of days, today and tomorrow. Yesterday was the celebration of the 1 year on air of Choose Views, and we thought it'd be fun, as I said, to mark the occasion. So still looking for some more of your questions that you'd like me to answer, and ask me anything, my background, my personal history, my philosophy on life, fondest memories, my favorite music or movies, my thoughts about a historical or current event, and my most memorable moments hosting Choose Views. Whatever you have on your mind, submit a question by text or by texting us at 763-9278, or you can email me at richard@wcpt820.com. And we will kind of pull those together and do our best to give you some good answers and make sure you know what I think about certain things. Not that you don't know already in some ways. And of course, if you're listening live, listen weekdays here on WCPT 2 to 5 p.m. AM 820, or tune in heartlandsignal.com, or tell Alexa to play WCPT from TuneIn. All right. Got to get all those, what do we call them, house cleaning items, Henry, out of the way. That's part of live radio, you guys. There's certain things we just got to make sure we cover coming out of the gate each day or throughout the course of the show. All right. Couple of Choose Views items that you guys might be somewhat aware of, but we'll make sure to give them to you now. Google nixes their diversity hiring goals. They're going to do away with hiring targets intended to increase diversity, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing an internal email. It's also reportedly reviewing its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, along with companies such as Meta. Google set a goal in 2020 for underrepresented groups to make up 30% of its executive ranks by this year. Its annual report released yesterday omits a line from recent years about commitment to DEI, according to the journal. So there, I could say another one bites the dust. Walmart is to cut jobs and move some staff. Walmart is planning to relocate much of its staff and cut hundreds of jobs, according to reports from Bloomberg. The nation's biggest retailer has asked employees from smaller offices to move to Bentonville, Arkansas, or Sunnyvale, California. Okay, Henry, you pick one. Bentonville, Arkansas, Sunnyvale, California. It's also closing its North Carolina office. The move, first reported by Fox Business, is tied to a broader relocation strategy, which started in May of 2024. Walmart also recently paid $34 million for a shopping mall near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, if they're going to revitalize it and make it more green, and bring some jobs to that area, then I can see the value in that. So we'll try to keep you guys posted on that one. Starbucks shifts its marketing approach as Starbucks attempts to go back to basics. Under new CEO Brian Niccol, the coffee giant is also shifting its marketing efforts. The company will, excuse me, a sneeze is coming on. The company will air a pair of commercials on Fox before and after this weekend's Super Bowl, followed by a free coffee promotion on Monday. Global Brand Chief Officer Tressie Lieberman said the campaign is an attempt to reintroduce the chain, which hopes to reverse declines in same-store sales. Now, those are commercials I probably won't see, not live. Ford predicts headwinds in 2025. This one I found kind of interesting. Quarterly profit and revenue that they expected exceeded expectations, but the automaker said it expects headwinds in 2025. It anticipates pre-tax profit to decline by $2 billion or even more during higher costs and lower vehicle prices. And after losing, this is the part that I found interesting, $5.1 billion on EVs last year, it predicts the deficit could widen as much to $5.5 billion this year, which means the price of the vehicles is probably going to go up, actually. The outlook doesn't include potential impacts of what? Tariffs, including, incoming CFO Sherry House said the company believes the Trump administration will, quote, support the American auto industry. Well, what does that actually mean if the tariffs are going to be in place that affect the parts that are needed to build vehicles, whether they be EV or combustion engine? Prices are still going to go up for it. So those are the headwinds you must be talking about. Last but not least, ransomware meets more resistance. A growing refusal to pay ransoms to cyber attackers, along with increased law enforcement actions, pushed down the total amount of payments made to cyber criminals last year by 35%. While the number of entities being extorted increased in the last half of 2024, according to blockchain data performance analysis, payments for the full year of 2024 fell to $813 million. Okay, So the reason I wanted to read that one last is I heard a really interesting little comment from someone about these Doge boys, and I'll give you guys this before we go to break. They're in some ways being looked at as sort of these techno people that are going to fix something in their mind, and those that are supporting them, like the press secretary. I call them hackers. Yeah, they're not going to. What are they there to fix? And in that conversation is me calling them hackers. That's what they really are. They're young boy, little, they're hackers. Let me just say it as I see it. So I'm not, lying to you guys. And we're all concerned in one way or the other about what they're going to do. In some cases, what they've already done, that we have seen that they're already tampered with some of the Medicare structure systems, meaning that the timing of the payments that go out electronically. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and talk about what some of the unions and other agencies are doing to push back, and what we as individuals should be paying attention to, and what we should be doing in the wake of what this is representing. I do agree with the other commentary that's put out there that this administration is full of the distraction, and I've said it before myself. Look over here while we do this, and that's what part of this is all about. The distraction of the Gaza comment in relationship to what's happening in our treasury. Somebody's going to get hurt. Financially, people could get hurt. In terms of their information, people could get hurt. And I think there's going to be some people that may get physically hurt. I'm not predicting that. I'm not asking for that or calling for that. Let me back up. I am not stupid enough to think that that's impossible. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that more when we come back from this first break. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. During the Civil War, 11% of the Confederate Army was made up of enslaved men forced to join. One of these men was Robert Smalls. Smalls was a deckhand on the Confederate supply ship known as the Planter. During his time, Smalls learned as much as he could about navigating the ship so he and others could escape, and on May 13th of 1862, while officers were sleeping, Smalls, along with 16 others, took the Planter out of the Charleston harbor, navigating through all 5 checkpoints while heading to open waters looking for the Union blockade. Smalls raised a white flag of surrender, letting Union soldiers board the ship, giving them guns, ammo, and documents about planned Confederate attacks. Being a wealth of information, Smalls was given the role of the Union Navy captain. Stories like Smalls are one of the many factors convincing President Lincoln to allow free African Americans to serve in the Union Army. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
It's Choose View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose View, 773-763-9278. So I received a text, and this is interesting that I got this text. I've gotten this from a text, and I've got an email asking a question that ties into what I'm saying about what the Democratic Party has got to do right now, the Democratic leadership. Who is the head of the Democratic Party right now? Who is the leading voice? I mean, somebody's got to step up and unapologetically take the mic and take the messaging right now. We also have to make sure that our media messaging is changing immediately. It has to be ready on the ground every day. I've been saying this for weeks now, that the Democratic leadership has to be in front of a microphone every single day about what they're working on, why they're working on it, what their pushback is, and who is it going to impact. They have to every single day. And I love the fact that Hakeem Jeffries is doing what he can do, but he's got to come a little bit harder, a little bit stronger, in my opinion. I think, but I don't want to just put this in his lap. All the Democratic elected officials on a national level, even on the state and local level, have got to come harder, because let's be honest, guys. We're going to talk to Mayor Johnson tomorrow, Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago mayor, tomorrow. And I'm going to ask him about that and give him the opportunity to talk about, who's going to be that leading voice. And I know that part of the answer is all of us. And I've said this myself because it's what I believe. We all have to be those voices right now. When someone says something to you that's garbage, you got to call them out in the moment. We don't have the luxury of sitting back anymore. I say this, I've been saying it for a year. We don't. And I think too many people thought that we did. And we lost some space. We lost some territory, if you will, political territory. So the question of who is the head of the Democratic Party, I don't know that answer. I know that Ken Martin is, and we have a clip that we're going to play, who is the head of he's a newly selected head of the DNC, but I don't necessarily see him as the head of the Democratic Party and the leading voice of the Democratic Party. While it's being figured out, there can be maybe a few voices that are working in conjunction to have a singular message. And I think the singular message right now has to be, frankly, these are words that the Democrats should use. And I wrote this down. Stop Donald Trump. Keep it simple. None of the lofty language and all the things that sometimes Dems get caught up in. The language should be stop Donald Trump. Keep it simple, Dems, across the board. Whether you're a shout out to our good friend Natalie Ziemba up in McHenry, whether you're a person that sits on the city council, local person like her, or you are in Washington, and everybody in between. It's that simple. Stop Donald Trump. If the Dems can adopt a very simple message in front of the mic, it would be great to see Hakeem Jeffries and 5, 6, 8 members of the House that are Dem members of the House step in front of the mic and say, our sole purpose right now is to stop Donald Trump, to make Donald Trump to make Donald Trump's desire to be a dictator go away. To push him to the brink where he is not. Listen, Dems, let me tell you why that's effective. Mitch McConnell said that their sole purpose was to make Barack Obama a one-term president, and they got away with it. They didn't get away with it happening because President Obama was successful in being reelected. But they said the words, Henry. The Dems need to say the same doggone thing. Our sole purpose is to stop Donald Trump from wrecking our country. Period. Listen, I'll probably get in a little bit of trouble. Not really, but you'll understand why I'm saying this in the next moment. Put me in that role. I will say it. I will take the lead. Seriously. I will take the lead on that. Our sole purpose as progressive liberal Democrats right now is to galvanize and stop Donald Trump by any means necessary. And Malcolm X is probably positively rolling over in his grave for me saying it that way. That's our sole purpose, by any means necessary within the law. For those who say, oh, wait, what did you just say? By any means necessary inside the law, we have to stop Donald Trump and stop kidding around and pussyfooting around about it. No. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to do, y'all. There's other things to do. You know what I mean? I don't literally mean that. But that's got to be the words that come out of the mouths of Democratic leaders across the board. Because if we take on that message, I'm telling you, there are people that are going to hear that are, first of all, let's be honest, they're going to be surprised that the Democrats said it that way, unapologetically. And this is kind of the wording that Mayor Johnson used the other night. Unapologetically, our primary goal is to stop Donald Trump. As a nation, it should be to stop Donald Trump. It shouldn't be just the folks on the left. or in the center. It should be the right as well, but we can't depend on them. Some of the ones who have, we got a clip that we're going to play. Do we have that one about the Trump? We don't want to play right now. Let's do the Martin one first. But we know that there's some people that voted for Trump that we know that what's the largest Google search right now is what is it? How do I, or can I change my vote? Something like that. Or how do I change my vote? One of the largest Google searches right now. But the point I'm making is there are people on the right, but we can't count on them. We couldn't count on them in the election, so let's not count on them on trying to stop Trump. We do know there are people who say, I can't believe this is happening. So if we peel some of those off, great. Our victory is in keeping our caucus together, keeping our group together, keeping our community together. They're trying to splinter us off. I'm telling you that. I see it. I'm watching it. Do not let it happen. Connect arms. Edmund Pettus Bridge, y'all. If you need a visual, think of that. And be prepared for the fight. Now, take that along with a singular message. And I wrote it down. Stop Donald Trump from wrecking our country. Right now, that's a message that everybody who believes in that, and it should be all the people that voted for Vice President Harris. Every one of those people should be buying into that. So we got a big group right there. Don't we, Henry? We got 75, 76 million folks right there. Irrespective of the Electoral College garbage, just the raw numbers. Stop Donald Trump from wrecking our country, from destroying our country. There's so many ways to build off of that. The key headline, stop Donald Trump. Our sole purpose is to stop Donald Trump, and then you can fill in the bullet points behind it. So with that 76 plus million people, whatever the actual final number is, plus the numbers of people who that are going to peel off because of the carnage, we've got numbers to make that message a big, broad national message. And people have to be encouraged. I'll speak to the positive about this. People have to be encouraged that message is going to resonate. I believe it is. I believe it would be and will be if the leadership decides to make that the clarion call. So this is what I want to put out to Dems. From this point forward, when you're at a mic, our sole purpose is to stop Donald Trump from wrecking and destroying our country. And if they don't want to, I said it 2 weeks ago, or the week that it's been 2 weeks. We're in 2 weeks when the whole thing with freezing assets and not assets, but freezing benefits hit the street. I said immediately, it's time to impeach him. That's causing harm to citizens. To what end? And see, the problem with Donald Trump, guys, there's many problems, but this is the one that is it tells you that why he wasn't really a good businessman, why he had money thrown at him from his daddy and from many other sources over the years, why he really wasn't a good businessman, because we all heard the people that we've all said our versions of how do you wreck a casino? How do you bankrupt a casino? Okay, we've all seen and heard that. But here's how I look at it as Donald Trump sucks as a businessman and is even worse as a politician, is because his sort of scatterbrain way of doing things. For example, the putting out a message that you're going to implement tariffs on our partners creates chaos, and then when it gets pushed back, he retreats. So that's a waste of time and energy. It's a waste of good political capital, frankly. I know that people say, well, he's all about chaos because he wants to see the craziness. That could be true. He might be a great chaos agent. That doesn't mean he's a good business person or a good politician. And just because he got elected, again, doesn't mean he's a good politician. It means we have a dumb A electorate. That's what it means, y'all. Let's be honest. A lot of folks don't like being called dumb, and I'm not calling a single person dumb. I'm saying we have a dumb A electorate, and we do. Hillary Clinton was right on just about darn near everything. So Donald Trump's way of being and acting is scatterbrained. It's all over the place. And it's always wasting stuff and then trying to patchwork it back together. You tell your allies, your neighbors, you're going to drop tariffs on them. And then when they push back, then you back up because he's a punk. And they go, well, he goes, well, we're not going to do it right now. We're going to wait 30 days. So what the hell during the 30 days? Now people got to sit there wondering, okay, now what's going to happen next? That is a recipe for constant disaster, which is why he lost so much doggone money. And he owes everybody so much money because scatterbrain. This whole thing with, so we talk about that. We lay that onto the tariffs. We can lay that same way of being, Donald Trump way of being on messing with benefits. And the list goes on. Gaza. It's a crazy idea. First, inhumane, but a crazy idea. We know that, as many people are saying, it's distraction from the other stuff. But that's not being a good business person. That's not being a good politician. You accumulate political capital and then you use it to benefit those who got you elected or the entire electorate that you say you serve, particularly in the United States of America. So he sucks as a politician as well as a business person. He's just gotten a bunch of silver spoons thrown at him and he's used those, but that doesn't mean he's a good business person. So yeah, how do you wreck a casino? How do you bankrupt a casino? You suck as a business person. And we could put those words in and do another little laundry list about Donald Trump as a father, as a husband, as a U.S. citizen, and just keep going because he does. He just sucks. So our message, and if the Democratic leadership can't find their way to it and want to be the singular voice of the Democratic Party, I'll gladly take on that role. Absolutely, without hesitation. Doesn't mean I'm running for office, for those who read between the lines. But I'll move to the front of the line respectfully, because that's the message we need to hear. Stop. Our primary goal, our number one goal, our singular goal, all we are trying to do is stop Donald Trump on every level. Got to come out of the mouths of somebody and come out repeatedly, daily. We're here today to stop Donald Trump from wrecking our country. Plant that seed and let it germinate. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. That's 800-741-5819.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. Breezy winds out of the west increase to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 21. Friday, mostly cloudy, high around 31 degrees. Saturday, chance for snow, high of 32. By Sunday, partial sunshine will see high around 30. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 32.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. So here's I got this text that I think is worthy of reading to you guys. Let me put these glasses on. Check this out. The Democrats should recite the sections of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the functions of each government department that Donald, Elon, and the GOP are attacking. Recite parts of Project 2025 that are egregious. They all are. Recite the treasonous actions of Elon. Recite all of their actions that violate the privacy of the American people. I agree with you 1,000%. Not sure who sent that, but I think that's Cassandra. Yeah. Hey, Cassandra in Oak Park. Thank you for that. Yes, agreed. That's start there. Stand at the podium in front of the mic and read. Here's what they're doing to our society. Listen, it's well past time for the Democratic leadership, up and down the levels of leadership. Take the damn gloves off, y'all. I mean, please hear this. If you know somebody that is an elected official in any capacity, let them know that it's okay to take the gloves off. We got your back. If you take the gloves off as an elected official at any level and people come at you with, hey, why are you not being so nice? Tell them it's no longer that time. Folks need to know that maybe we as an electorate need to let our elected officials know it's okay to come to the party with the sledgehammer, because sometimes you need it. You know, you may have to walk in the door. I've said this before, Henry. You know the sound of an aluminum bat if you drag it on pavement. It makes a little bit of noise, right? The sound of a sledgehammer, the head of a sledgehammer, if you drag it on the cement or the pavement, it makes a noise. Now, I'm not literally saying, and I've said this before, to bring a sledgehammer to the fight. I am saying bring that attitude to the fight. And the Republican Party across the board, whether it be on a local level, Republican Party and Republicans as voters need to know we are done playing with them. And bringing a sledgehammer or an aluminum bat, because they both make noise when dragged on pavement, lets them know we're not here for the niceties. We want to have a nice time. We want to be respectful. But if y'all start acting up or bringing garbage, you got to deal with that attitude. And I say that to our locally elected officials, and I say that all the way up the chain. Now, as voters, I think what we have to be willing to do, it's two pieces. We have to be willing to bring those tools to the fight. And what I try to do as best I can every show is inform you, give you information, keep you fired up about it's okay to be that way. You don't have to be that way 24/7, but you have to be prepared for it. And then I think, can be the energy. We can be those logs on the fire for our elected officials to know it's okay to come to the party with the sledgehammer or an aluminum bat. It's okay. We, as your voters, we got you. Bring some hell to the party. John Lewis would say it differently. Make good trouble. Well, bring some hell to the party. And for us to take the position that we're not going to fight or we're going to let things kind of play out is completely irresponsible and reckless. You have I'm going to touch on probably the third rail here a little bit, so give me a little bit of room to say it this way. You have a child or a member of your family that's got an illness, they're not feeling quite right, but you don't want to, upset anybody, and you don't attend to that. That's kind of, irresponsible, in my opinion. But again, it starts with us. We have to have some self-review about what we're willing to do, and then take that energy and put it out there to people who are willing to be part of that fight. Okay? Listen, no ego here, but I absolutely feel like, our Democratic leaders have got to take that on. They've got to be willing to take that on, and they have to be willing at all cost. They have to be willing to take the fight on. They have to be willing by any means necessary within the law for this fight. They just do. So I hope folks hear that. And you as listeners, you as progressive liberal Democrats, and all the rest, frankly, if you really do care about our country, then don't just whine about it. Let's take action. And the action we can take, the first thing we can do is to make sure that we're reaching out to our leaders and say, look, y'all have to come ready to the fight. And in that, know that we've got your back. Okay, I just want you guys to please be with me on that one. We have a couple clips that I want you guys to hear this morning before we go to this next break. We talked about leadership. We talked about where voices are coming from and who's got to say what. And I haven't really played any clips yet from the fact that we have the newly elected and selected head of the DNC. But we do have one that I'd like you guys to hear from Ken Martin.
You saw that earlier today with what the senators and congressional members were doing and resisting what we saw with the USAID. It's important right now when the stakes are as high as they are that we are fighting back and we're resisting the excesses and extremes of this Trump administration. It's really critical that folks throughout this country see that we're willing to fight for them in this moment. And, I think for the Democratic Party, these first 100 days, we have to do a few things. One is we have to stand up the war room, which is to make sure that we are stamping out the misinformation and disinformation campaign of the Republican Party, and that we are also at the same time defining ourselves, right? I remember in 2016, someone saying that the Republicans are shameless, but the Democrats are spineless. And so it's important for folks to know that we have a spine. We're not dead as a party. We're still alive and kicking, and we're going to fight for our values, and we're going to fight for American values at this time when people are seeing what Donald Trump and the Republicans are doing at this time. Look, it's only been two weeks now, and Elon Musk has already shown us that he's the worst president that this country has already had. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we've got to do a job of showing that this cabinet, which is the wealthiest cabinet ever in American history, worth $460 billion, right? Not just the top 1%, but the top 100th of 1% now has control of the federal government. And if you think that they give a damn about working people in this country, that they're actually going to make a difference in people's lives, help people who are struggling right now to afford their lives. Look, we saw 2 weeks ago the 4 richest men in the world surrounded by this billionaire cabinet who now control the government. It's just a shame what they're going to do to this country, and they're going to profit off the backs of hardworking men and women in this country. We see what they're doing to damage this world and, of course, this country right now, and it's up to us to stand up and fight back. There it is. And so I hope that he keeps that level of energy up. I hope he keeps that level of vim and vigor up. And I want you guys to, he is who we have in terms of the head of the DNC, and, love him or not love him. He's speaking the words that not only need to be spoken, but need to be acted on. And I appreciate the text that I've gotten from you guys this morning in talking about, how we have to arm ourselves. So shout out to Laura and her comments this morning about we have to arm ourselves with more than just, a sweater vest. That's not going to do a damn thing. She's right about that. We have to come prepared. We have to arm ourselves with data, with information. But I also have to tell you guys what we have to arm ourselves with: a willingness to fight and stay in the fight. That's what we have to also arm ourselves with. We have to be brazen about this, guys. I'm just telling you, and I know that it may be for many people. I mean, I'll give you an example that touched my heart yesterday. Jim called in from Detroit, and Jim was kind enough to say congratulations and happy anniversary to me and to the show and all of us here. And I appreciated that. One of the things that he did say that stayed with me is that he said, "Rich, I'm old. Don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, and I don't want to do this again." And to folks like Jim, my hat goes off to you, because we know how long you fought and been in this fight. My sister, Linda, said a version of that to me right after Roe fell. And she said, I fought hard for this in the 70s. And she said, and you remember growing up watching me fight for it. She said, I'm too damn tired to do this all over again. And so to the folks who've been in the fight for a long chronological period of time, I get it.
And many of you are our listeners. So I fully respect that. I'm younger at heart than I am chronologically, and I don't consider myself old even chronologically. But I understand that there's many people that are like, Richard, I'm tired of this. And I know there's a lot of folks that are in the African American community, particularly women, that are tired. They're like, nah, I'm sitting this one out. I get it, and I respect that. But there's many, many, many other people who should not be tired. You should be energized. You should be willing to make the phone calls. You should be willing to send the emails. You should be willing to continue to do the work. Don't let these young Doge boy, wet behind the ears hackers, and I mean that specifically and generally, more broadly, tell you what's what. Don't let that happen. Please don't let that happen. Let's grab a quick call from Mike before we go to this break. Hey, Mike, good morning and welcome to Choose Views.
Happy anniversary. Great show again. Richard, have you been watching the news at all? We have been doing the best we can. On Monday, congressional Democrats staged a protest outside of U.S. aid.
Yep.
On Tuesday, they appeared outside the Treasury Department. On Wednesday, they spoke to a crowd near the Capitol and another outside the Labor Department. We don't have many legislative options available right now because we're not in the majority. I just got an email from the DNC. Basically, it said, give us more money because we need to stop Trump and organize for the next elections. I think our message has been pretty clear. Have you been watching MSNBC at all today, man?
Let me answer your question.
Once again, there's the Fox BS channel that we have to fight, and the mainstream news has been covering it, but not like they should. So I think we've been doing pretty good. I mean, we can't impeach him. We don't have a majority. The Senate is staging all night filibuster to block one of his nominees. Did you?
Well, you've asked a question. You've asked a question 3 times, so let me respond. First of all, thank you for the contribution, and I appreciate that. So let me just to answer your question. I'll read yes. I have been paying very close attention, and I'm not saying and didn't say and won't say that they aren't doing anything. I'm saying it has to be more of that. We don't have the legislative numbers. We know that. Believe me, I know that. I paid very close attention to all of them on the Senate and the House side. We don't have it. But that's an excuse for not encouraging them. Because if you heard what I said, Mike, I said we have to let them know we have their backs. I didn't say they weren't doing anything. I said that we have to do more of it, and there needs to be a singular voice that says, and a message that says, stop Donald Trump. That means that we have to be part of that fight too. For us to say, well, there's nothing we can do. That's saying that the only thing we can do, in my observation, is the legislative mechanisms, and that's not it. That's not the only thing. Part of the problem why I believe so many people stayed at home, that were suppressed in their mind from not voting, is because they didn't see this kind of activity and energy and fight from Democrats who were elected to office. Now, I know the numbers, Mike. I'm with you on that. I'm not disagreeing with you. Please don't think that I am. I'm hearing you. Hakeem Jeffries plans to use government shutdown to stop Trump. That's one of the ones I'm following. FBI agents resist and sue to block Trump retaliation. That's one I'm following. 2 federal unions sue to block Musk and Doge access to Treasury payment systems. So I'm plugged into what they're doing. I'm just saying we don't have the luxury of not continuing to do that. That's what they want us to do, Mike. I'm telling you, man, they want us to not even say a word. And I'll tell you why I know that that's part of their mindset. The woman that's the press secretary, she said yesterday during a press conference that the question was asked, should there be some restraints on Elon Musk and what's happening with the Treasury? And her response, and I'm giving you the paraphrase version, was, well, he's a billionaire. He's the richest man on the planet. And, if he feels like, he's not doing anything that's incorrect, or if his contracts, he doesn't feel like he's done anything wrong, then there's no reason to question that. To me, the reverse of that is, don't question the doggone thing that we do. That's what they want us to do, is to not question and to not fight. And all I'm saying, Mike, is we have to be willing to have that fight. And the Dems are doing things now. We just have to let them know, keep doing it. We've got your back.
Yeah, I understand you, man. So I do. I emailed all my congressmen yesterday and today. I give more money to the DNC and to some other organizations. I hand out flyers. I might have started doing that again. I don't know if it's going to do any good in California because we're a Democratic state. I did it in Alaska when I was there because we had representatives, Republicans. We forced them to have town halls. So I hear you. Well, everybody give $10 to DNC. I don't know if you do. Email your congressman. By the way,
yes.
The best way to get a hold of congressmen is go to the webpage and email.
Well,
it goes right to I think I told you that before. It goes right to their aide that handles that topic. And they do get it.
They do get it.
Too, but the best way is email.
I think that we have to be. I wrote this on a sticky note to myself the other day. You have to use all the tools. That one's a great tool. Is it singularly the best? Some people don't like to send emails because they worry. So some people don't like to make phone calls to the congressional leaders. All of the above is necessary, and I think that everybody's got to figure out what's their thing, and then do it with and you said this a few weeks ago, with consistency. Do it with consistency. Yep. So I remember when you said that. So yes, I do.
It's hard to this last thing, you and I remember prior to Reagan. But as Tom Hartman says, and I'm 65, and I keep saying, it's hard for people to push back that are working two jobs to put a roof over their head.
Yep.
Luckily, I get Social Security. My significant other gets Social Security disability. I get VA, and we both have a housing voucher.
Yeah.
That's the only way we should live.
It is, Mike. It is hard for some when folks got they got 2 or 3 things going on with work. Yep. I get it. Yep. I totally do, and that's why I'm trying to be consistent in what I'm saying and keeping people encouraged. But I appreciate you, Mike, saying and reminding me and reminding others that the Dems are doing things. We just have to be their backboard and let them know when you turn around, we have your back. We're still here for you.
And there's been rallies all over the country, so, we do what we can. But I really, hey, man, it's been a year anniversary. I really appreciate your show. I tell people to listen to WCPT all the time.
Thank you. We appreciate that, man. We really do.
I really appreciate it, man.
All right, be safe today. Hey, by the way, if you're heading outside, be super careful. It is icy as you know what out. So just be mindful if you have to go out into the pavement. Just be careful. Hold on to something, okay?
I'm in Eagle Rock, California. So.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a dude from Eagle Rock.
Oh, gosh, Mike. Yes, you're right around the corner from my friend who is the security head of security at Occidental. Yes.
A little bitsy rain. The climate change, we don't get the rain like we used to know. I used to live up near that black community up in Altadena.
Yeah.
And I cried, man. My significant other had a gated community up there, and 50 of those homes went up.
Yeah.
But I was really upset about that. That was a great community up there, and I used to live up there. So climate change is a disaster.
It's a reality. Mike, thanks, man. I appreciate it now, and I will remember now that it's you calling from Eagle Rock. Be safe, Mike. Thanks, man. All right, bye now. Yeah, I forgot about that. I was thinking of a different Mike that's on the north side of Chicago. I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, guys. Please be careful outside today if you're in the Chicago metropolitan area. It's icy and slick and all the rest. If you got to get out early, do it. Please do. All right, we blew past a break, but we'll take a quick one. 773-763-9278. We'll be right back. Hey, progressives, this is Richard Chew, host of Chew's Views here on WCPT AM 820, 6 to 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. We have some real challenges in front of us as a country. Since the beginning of this show, I have always felt compelled to bring you the best that I've got. Now, there's always a why to doing whatever we do. So, as we go forward and face these challenges, know this, you listeners are my why. because I want to make sure I do everything I can to provide a safe, open, forward-moving space that allows you to call, email, text, or just listen to a guy that wants to help you bring out your own championship qualities to truly make this place better for us all. Lofty goal, idealistic, maybe so. But that's my why, and I look forward to bringing you the best that I've got. This is Richard Chew. Stay tuned.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chew's Views, 773-763-9278. Some great texts this morning. I'm going to read through a couple of them, Henry. Let's see. Someone says, all I can say is Richard, run. All right, John, we'll see about that. What else we got? Let's see. Oh my goodness, it's hard to pull these up. I'll keep it going, guys. Don't worry, I'm here. Oh, this is one. Who was the congressman from Texas that called for? That was Green, Al Green, Representative Al Green, I believe it was in Texas. That said it called for impeachment, and I agree. This was sent to me and said, I want to send him a few bucks, and everyone in the sound of your voice should send him something, even if it's just, $1. Once other members of Congress see money coming in, they'll follow suit. Phone calls and emails are great, but cash is king. Okay. Let's see. Our good friend Kristen up in Minnesota. The 50501 protest was yesterday. I participated in the rally at the Minnesota State Capitol with my DEI sign. Check this one out, Henry. Deport Elon immediately. Go, Kristen. That's what I'm talking about. Good work there. So, yeah, guys, thanks for the text, and you are spot on. It's Representative Al Green. Is it Al Green? Do I have that right? Golly, let me get that right. I don't want to. I'm sorry about this, guys, but Representative Green from Texas, he is the congressman that said that's calling for impeachment of Trump, and I agree. I said it myself, and why should we pull away from? Yeah, Representative Al Green is filing new impeachment articles. Yeah. It's not about it. It's not about it being successful in the sense that he gets impeached. It's about sending the message. I mean, fair statement, Henry. It's not. We can't get caught up. Well, it's not going to work. It's not going to succeed. No, let people know you're fighting. And I appreciate what Mike said, and I appreciate him reminding me of the folks that are out there fighting. We have to be behind them, though. We have to be their back, their support. If we're not, then I think that's when they lose a little bit of their energy to keep doing the work. I mean, that's just a part of who we are as human beings. So we have to fight along with them and encourage them to keep fighting. Let's go with our man Leo from South Carolina. Hey, Leo, good morning. Welcome to Choose Views.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to agree with you, and sorry, Mike, but disagree with you. No, I think we need to support the ones that are fighting the right way, support the ones that have the right amount of hysteria, and tell the others, join the fight, because this is fascism, this is the end of democracy, and nobody's going to take it seriously if our elected officials aren't acting like it. Specifically, I come from the great state of Nancy Mace, and I am so sick and tired of hearing... I know it. I know it.
I'm sorry, Leo, but I have got to interject this real quickly because we're coming up. Wow. What a display of non-decorum that she exhibited yesterday, right?
But so it's the decorum thing that I'm after. Stop asking trash to act better than trash.
I know.
Okay? Stop calling her a gentle lady. Stop calling her my friend. Stop acting for decorum.
I know.
Jasmine Crockett and call them exactly what they are.
Yep. I mean,
it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy to refer to them as such when we know already that that's not who they are. And if they are that, they're not. Yeah. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you said Nancy Mace.
Stop saying my friend across the aisle. If you're calling people tranny, you ain't my friend.
Yep.
You're not my friend. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to call you my friend. I don't want to be associated with you. Yeah. And I want AOC and Jasmine Crockett energy coming from everybody who has to address these people. And I don't want people saying, hey, can we ask her to tamp it down? No. Like, if you want to play in the mud, let's get in the mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Democrats need to be doing.
That's right. We got to come sledgehammer to the party. It has to be that way. And it does. I don't mean this literal sledgehammer, but bringing that energy, that the sound of an aluminum bat dragging on pavement. They need to know.
And whatever into the party, all you got to do is match it. That's it.
That's it. That's right. That's right. Hey, man, listen, we got to go to break. But, Leo, thank you for calling, your contribution, and most definitely your service down there in South Carolina, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, be well. Stay safe today. And when I say stay safe to Leo, I literally mean it. He's in law enforcement, former paramedic, so always send Leo some love and thoughts for the work that he does. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We've got guests in the second hour, 773-763-9278. We'll be right back.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor. Secure Future utilizes an indexed annuity tied to growth in the U.S. stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. That's right. No matter what happens in the market, your investment can never decline. Down years, you're insured against any losses. Boom years, your retirement account grows exponentially to increase your worth. Whether the market is up or down, Secure Future Investor can set you up with guaranteed money for life income. It's the difference between thinking you have enough money to retire and knowing you're getting that retirement check every single month for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. Over 40 years old? Call now. 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News. Good morning, I'm Ed Donahue. Israel says it has started preparations for the departure of a large number of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip.
In line with President Donald Trump's plans for the territory, officials meanwhile said Egypt has launched a diplomatic blitz behind the scenes to try and head off the plan. The Palestinians and much of the international community have rejected Trump's proposal, saying Israel will never allow the refugees to return and that it would destabilize the region. Egypt has warned that such a plan could undermine its historic peace treaty with Israel. Israeli leaders have welcomed Trump's proposal, but rights groups say the forcible relocation of a civilian population would amount to ethnic cleansing. I'm Karen Shamas.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the relocation would be temporary.
There are all kinds of Hamas weaponry still buried underground. For people to be able to live in a place safely, all of that has to be removed. It's an enormous undertaking.
A second employee has died following a shooting at a warehouse near Columbus, Ohio. The co-worker accused of the attack is expected in court. Two experienced hikers were rescued after becoming stranded in waist-deep snow in whiteout conditions on New Hampshire's challenging Mount Washington. The deadline is later today for federal employees to decide if they're going to take a buyout offer from the Trump administration. The deal is they resign but get paid until the end of September. President Trump has said everybody's replaceable.
We want to clean it out. You know, people have been trying to reduce federal government now for 40 years, 45 years, and they haven't been able to do it. And this is a way of doing it, I think, very nicely. It's sort of a buyout, too. I think we're treating people very good.
Democrats say workers should say no to the plan because it wasn't authorized by Congress, raising the risk they won't get paid. A military contracted plane crashed in a rice field in the southern Philippines, killing all 4 people on board. This is AP News. The trade deadline in the NBA is this afternoon. There was another big trade.
Jimmy Butler has gotten his wish. He's being traded out of Miami. The Heat and the Warriors have agreed on a deal that sends Butler to the Bay Area. A person with knowledge of the talks tells the Associated Press. The trade ends a Miami era for Butler that will be remembered first for 2 trips to the NBA Finals and then 3 suspensions toward the end of a hostile breakup. Golden State is making it happen by moving Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and first-round draft compensation out in the deal. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
A source tells the AP first baseman Pete Alonso is staying with the New York Mets, agreeing to a $54 million 2-year contract. President Trump is ready to take his fight against transgender athletes to the International Olympic Committee. The Summer Games in 2028 are in Los Angeles. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. Breezy winds out of the west increase to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 21. Friday, mostly cloudy, high around 31 degrees. Saturday, chance for snow, high of 32. By Sunday, partial sunshine will see high around 30. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 32.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820 AM, where facts matter. Take it away, Richard.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, second hour here today on the 6th of February, 2025. We're here. Guys, thanks for being with us, 773-763-9278. Love getting your calls and your text messages. I'm trying to read them as best I can. But make sure today you stay tuned for Joan Esposito, who'll be taking your calls. I'm talking to Michael Kelly, professor of law at Creighton University. Michael Jones, national correspondent, politics correspondent, and founder of the Once Upon a Hill newsletter, Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And, of course, you can catch Joan live today, 2 to 5 p.m. here on WCPT. And tonight, 5 to 7 is Patty Vasquez driving you home. Make sure you are plugged in and catching all of the good stuff there. And make your way over to Heartland Signal, our digital platform. A couple of good articles that you want to check out. Oklahoma Republican introduces a bill. Listen to this, y'all. Allowing state to pay employees with Bitcoin. Lord have mercy. An opinion piece that you guys want to check out as well, which was, opinion piece written by Jennifer Schulze. Shout it from the rooftops. This is a coup. It's a great piece. I can't read it all on air, but I want to send you guys over to check that piece out that Jennifer posted. Kudos, Jennifer. And then the numbers of Heartland Signal on X, audio and video that we have there that you guys should check out. Numbers of them from crazy Nancy Mace to Raja Krishnamurthy, on and on. Just make your way over. It's some really good stuff to check out. Good clips. And far too many for us to read and play this morning. So make your way over there. All right, guys. Happy to be with you. The second hour of Choose Views this morning. How do I want to start this? I thought about this last night. We all go through life and we do things, and every now and again we have some regrets. And I think a person that's somewhat introspective, a person that's humble enough to acknowledge that they need to change directions or change behavior, is someone that's growing and looking for a better way. And with us this morning here on the show, we have two folks that had spent a part of their lives being part of the Trump followers and part of MAGA, and then made the decision that it was time to change course, change path. And with us this morning, we have Rich Logis and Courtney Rae. Rich is the founder and executive director of Leaving MAGA. I hope you guys heard that. Leaving MAGA. So welcome to the show, Rich, and welcome to the show, Courtney.
Oh, thanks, Richard. It's great to be with you. I've been on with Joan Esposito a few times as well. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Courtney, good morning. Are you there as well?
Good morning. I am. Yes, thank you. I echo Rich's sentiment. It is such an honor to be here.
Well, listen, guys. If you've listened to any of our programming, but if you particularly listen to my show, I'm a hard-boiled guy in some cases, but I'm also a very understanding. We all fall down, but we get back up again. From the words of the gospel singer Donnie McClurkin. And I applaud you guys for being on the show, but also for putting together an organization that is really built to talk about the buyer's remorse, if you will, of having been part of MAGA and then literally creating an organization called Leaving MAGA. You guys can volley this back and forth, but tell us, maybe Rich, you start, since you're the founder, about the organization, what drove you to say, I got to start this and I've got to get behind it.
Sure. What Leaving MAGA is a new community for people who decide to leave, for those who might have doubts and uncertainty right now about their support for the president. And it's also an organization and community for friends and family of those who have relatives and close friends who are still in the thrall of MAGA. And I emphasize the word community because that's what MAGA was for me. It was really a second family. In fact, this second family oftentimes took precedence over my own blood family. And the reason I emphasize community is because I would really ask others and listeners to refrain from referring to MAGA as a cult. I do agree that there are some cult-like aspects to it, but if we refer to those who are in the MAGA community as cultists, what it's going to do is it's going to make it harder. It's going to make our job harder. It's going to make it more difficult to extract them out of MAGA, and it's just going to further cement that already strong bond and tie that they have with the president. And for those who have offered testimonials such as Courtney, you can find those at our site, leavingmaga.org. We have many stories of people who left. Everyone went through their odyssey on an individual basis, and we have more and more testimonials, Richard, which we are preparing to release publicly. So while we would like it to move faster, of course, for people to leave, we are doing everything in our power to accelerate the building the exit ramp and the new destination for those who decide to leave.
Yeah, a lot of times, and Rich, thanks for that. Thank you for that, and I want to come back to something that you said about the leaving part. A lot of times, change, and I've said this for many in my own life and personally and professionally, sometimes change is hard because you don't know where you're going to go to. And if there's not a place to go to, staying where you are feels like it's safe. It's comfortable. It's all those things that we, from a psychological and sociological perspective, use to protect ourselves. So leaving something without knowing where you're going to go can be scary as hell. So that's why I think what you guys have done in terms of creating a new space for people to go to, almost like a bridge from where they are with MAGA to whatever the next is. You guys kind of operate like a bridge. Would that be fair to say, Courtney? And tell us a little bit about your experience.
Sure. So I can't speak to Rich's experience as the founder of this organization. I'm just somebody that was able to give testimony because I was in MAGA, right? And it has been such an experience. For example, one of the young ladies that also is part of Leaving MAGA and has done testimonials. She and I live 20 minutes away from each other. We had no idea. And we've now been able to connect in real life. We're working on that. And so building that community, to his point, is so important, because I find that, at least it was for me, a lot of being a Trump supporter was about validation. I was very young. I was a woman. Being a Trump supporter and being a woman is sort of an oxymoron, because you're literally going against your own best interests. But when you're doing that, to be validated by people surrounding you in a community, that doesn't matter, especially when you've grown up and maybe you don't have a lot of self-esteem, or you tie your self-worth on other people and what you're worth to them, which was kind of where I came from. And my journey out of that was not anything about politics. I did not cognitively say, I want to leave being a Trump supporter. It was just being in therapy and just growing and realizing that my identity isn't tied to who I vote for, who I'm friends with even. It's my ability to change and grow and be open to new perspectives, especially those that might conflict with what I already believe to be true. And Leaving MAGA, that organization, is a safe space to land for many of us.
So, Courtney, and thank you for that. You said that self-esteem issues were some part of the mixture of things that were going on with you. Talk a little bit about that, if you can.
Yeah, sure. So for me, being the best at everything, getting good grades growing up, being chosen, being wanted, being validated by other people, especially men, was always something that was very important to me. My self-worth was directly tied on what I could do and what I could provide to other people, and then how they interacted with me. So when I was in MAGA, it was a lot of, I had voted for McCain in my very first election, so I had identified being a Republican, and that was, even though I didn't know much about politics at all, and that was during a time when I was in college where my peers were very excited to vote for Obama. That was so, this collective effervescence of hopefulness, and I was on the outside of that, and it made me feel special. And I continued to dig my heels into the sea. I'm so different. I'm so much smarter than these libs that, that whole narrative. And I really dug my heels in. And then as I aged and started the dating pool, that really was met positively from men. I hate to say it like that, being like, oh, wow, you're such a cool girl. You're so much smarter than everybody else. You know so much about the world. You're a Republican. And that really became part of my identity. And that was where my self-esteem came from.
Okay. So that positive feedback that you got from the group, from the people, allowed you to kind of continue going down that path. And that's, I think anybody could be susceptible to that, because, it makes you feel good. And it gives you a sense that, okay, I'm in the right spot because everybody around me is telling me that I'm okay. And then was that
100%.
Was that part of what was going on?
Yeah, especially when you compare yourself to the liberals that are so, they're bleeding heart. They don't know. When you're young, you have a big heart, so you're a liberal. But when you're older, you have a big brain, so you're a Republican. That's the things I was being told. And I ate that up. I wanted to do everything that I could to identify with that. I wanted to be smart. I wanted to be smarter than all of my peers. I wanted to be in the know. And it was very seductive.
Mm-hmm. Rich, and Courtney, thank you for that, because it lays a good foundation for what I think a lot of people forget sometimes, is that when you said community and not a cult, I think a lot of people were listening going, oh no, Richard, call him out on that. It's a cult. And I'm not that guy. If someone's acting cultish, I'm going to call him out on that behavior. But I do understand, because I talk about this a lot myself, about how we recover as a country starts with building stronger local communities and making the fight be about, if we connect in community, a community that's good for everybody, then we all win. Rich, you're saying that that it's a community, and it sounds like, Courtney, you correct me if I'm wrong, saying a little bit of the same thing, that community, which could be 3 people, helping folks feel better about themselves as what is one of the energy sources, if you will, to use my words, of being in MAGA. Is that true, or am I offbeat on this?
No, not at all. And we don't, as a species, want communal existence. We need it. And just like it's similar to Courtney's experience, when I was in the MAGA community, I did find respect and appreciation and vindication. I was a volunteer in the Trump campaign. I professionally produced a podcast after 2016. I was an aspiring MAGA pundit. I had bylines in places like Fox, The Federalist, some other sites. So for me, it wasn't just a hobby. It was truly a way of life. Forget about taking a day off. I never took an hour off from the MAGA community. And I understand, Richard, why some might say it sounds like a cult. I can understand that. And yes, there were some cult-like aspects about it for me, but it's important to recognize that because all of us need that communal existence, MAGA is a political community. It's not something that really has been seen in the modern era. And the reason for the devotion to the president is because he is the leader of that community.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, you've got some dinging or something going on in the background that's a little bit distracting. So I don't know what that is, but you might want to shut that off if you can.
Oh, really? Sorry about that. I wonder if it's my headpiece. Sorry about that. How's that? I just readjusted. Is that better?
Much better. Okay. So
sorry about that.
No. Wrap up that part of your point in terms of Trump being the leader of the Republican Party and the GOP, i.e. MAGA. Again, it's the affirmation that you're wonderful, you're great, nothing's wrong with you. This is our community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is that?
Yes, and to your point earlier, Richard, without a new place to go, even people who deep down know that they should leave are almost certainly not going to. So I give thanks every single day that when I left, which was on August 30th, 2022, that was the exact day I left because I published the mea culpa renouncing my support for Trump and MAGA and my governor, Ron DeSantis. I didn't have a place to go. I was at a crossroads in my life, and I just spent the next year recounting this story. And I didn't think, Richard, anybody would care, actually, about my own odyssey of leaving MAGA. That's the God's honest truth. And I came to realize people did. And to paraphrase the venerable American writer, my epiphany, Courtney's, the others whom we featured at in our organization, our epiphany happened gradually and then suddenly all at once. And we have to walk away from a community which makes it hard to leave. And the other aspect for me that was hard to leave is I had collected accumulatively years of beliefs that I came to painfully but liberatingly realize were wrong and inaccurate. And I had to change my belief system because I diversified my news and information sources when my doubts commenced. And I realized just how pretty much everything I had believed was a lie.
So that leads me to, you kind of answered a question that I wanted to ask you both. And so Courtney, we'll start with you since Rich just said what he said about that epiphany. What was, because sometimes it's a collective and then sometimes it's not. So I'll ask the question this way, Courtney and Rich. What was the moment or the thing that you went, I'm done? And I'm making an assumption here, Courtney, so let me back up. Assuming that there was one.
What a great question. It was during COVID, and the election was going on between Biden and Trump. And Biden was encouraging people to stay at home because it was a pandemic and it was not safe to be around in big groups of people, right? Meanwhile, Trump was bragging about how huge his crowds were, as he does. And I just remember having this moment listening to him bragging about that. And I said to my partner at the time, we're in a pandemic, and he's bragging about getting thousands of people together during this time. And meanwhile, Biden is saying, screw the optics of a big crowd. I want to keep you guys safe. And I didn't like Biden. I was not a fan of his at all. And I said, that's a president. That's somebody who is going to keep us safe. And that wasn't the thing, but it was the thing that took my veil off, if you will. That added to, just some of the just egregious things that Trump would say daily, because he was on our TVs a lot more at that point. At least I was paying attention a lot more because of the worldwide catastrophe that we were all going through. And so I was hearing him a lot more than I think that I had before. Even though I loved him, it was in a different context. So that was really kind of what started it for me. And then I did vote for Biden, and it was this weird thing where I knew I couldn't lay my head down to sleep at night knowing I voted for Trump again, but I wanted Trump to win, if that makes sense. It's like I didn't want to be part of it. I wanted to be able to say I did not vote for him, but I'm happy he won, which is really weird. Mm-hmm. But I was still loyal to him, but I just couldn't bring myself to vote for him. And then J6 happened. And then I said, oh, I am on the right side of history here. And I just remember breaking down and crying and realizing, to Rich's point, the hardest part is all of these beliefs, some of which you've gotten since you were born. You were born, your family, your parents, your community gave you beliefs and thoughts, and that becomes your identity. And going through and auditing those and being like, I don't know if I agree with this. Let's do more research on that. And then continuing to challenge those beliefs is really, really hard, because so many people tie what they believe in and what they support as who they are, and pivoting away from that and realizing that's not who you are. You can change that. That was the most difficult thing for me.
That is a recipe for self-reflection and introspection, Courtney, like I haven't heard from somebody in a long time. And I believe you both would agree with me, not that I need to be agreed with, that more people need to do that. Because what was going through my head, Courtney, as I was listening to you describe that, I had this visual of a person standing on a sidewalk and having a choice to go one direction or the other. And like I said a moment ago, and Rich said this as well, if you go in one direction, you're leaving certain things behind that have been your identifiers. If you go in the other direction, you're leaving certain things behind that have been your identifiers. So the choice is you have to leave some things behind. It's just a question of what are you willing to let go of. And you obviously had to go through that struggle, and then you had evidence. I like what you said too, Rich, that a lot of the things that you were getting, the information, the data, was like, wait a minute, this is skewed. This can't be right. And then you started getting different data, and you went, oh, wait a minute, I see, compare and contrast. And Courtney, it sounds like you had a little bit of that as well, and J6 was your, that may have been well, you'd already voted for Biden, but that was the moment that you really, it seemingly accelerated your new belief system. Would that be fair to say, or am I off?
No, that's 100% fair to say. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Rich, take us home, man. I mean, I'm going to have you guys back. And can I say this way, for those who are listening, we need to have this kind of, what's the word I want to use? We need to have this kind of exposure and commentary from people who've been through something that others haven't been through. You guys have been through something that other people haven't. And you've said, change of direction, got to do something different, and then be a bridge to help people go in that direction. So I would definitely want to have you guys back on the show again to talk more about this, because your organization, Leaving MAGA, is a tool. It's a resource. It's a new community to help people that have been in this struggle. And Rich, if you can wrap us up by answering this question, it's a big one. Why are people still there?
Hard to walk away from something that's your identity, your being, your personhood, your way of life. And the fact, Richard, is I'm not saying this because it's our idea, but I am unaware of another way to empower people to lead other than them seeing those who were once fellow MAGA compatriots who said that enough was enough and it was time to leave. It took me a lot of reasons to leave. It was COVID mismanagement, the election lies, January 6th. It was Ron DeSantis platforming anti-vaxxers. But my final straw was May 24th, 2022. It was the Uvalde school shooting. And I'm a firearm owner. I carry a firearm actually daily where allowed by law. And that was the final straw for me. I quietly left, but something was gnawing at me because I was always very unapologetically public in my support for Trump, and I decided I needed to be public in my renunciation of MAGA and Trump and Ron DeSantis. And one last point, if I may make, and it's related to the cult compliments it. There are a lot of MAGA Americans, Richard, who are going to realize that Trump is not fixing anything for them. And even though it belies our sense of urgency, I would implore everyone, please be patient and resist the temptation to say, I told you so. Because when they start to have their own uncertainty, we want them to know about the exit ramp, the new destination, and the community of Leaving MAGA, where they will be welcome. And there's only one non-negotiable mandate. Someone must take responsibility for any past actions and rhetoric that may have hurt anyone. We have no ideological purity test. Courtney, anyone else with us does not have to vote a certain way or register a certain way, but accountability for prior decisions and statements that may have harmed others must take responsibility for that. So I'm happy to come on at any time. People can find us at leavingmaga.org. We've got our media. We've got a little bit more of our story. We've got a free ebook, no strings attached, with a blueprint on how to re-engage your friends and family in MAGA. So visit us, leavingmaga.org. My email's there. I respond to everyone.
Well, listen, guys. This is the first. This is the first show of the second year of my show. So it's the beginning of my second year. And
congratulations.
Well, thank you. I say
Congratulations.
that. Thank you, Courtney. And I don't say that to pump me up. I say that because kind of the universe steps in sometimes. I believe that. And in this case, to start off the new year of Choose Views, to have you two guys on to say that we can move in a different direction. We can fix this if we create community. Gives me a lot of additional encouragement about how we can fix this. So I want to thank you both for having the courage to be on, doing the work that you're doing. We are going to have you back on the show because people need to know that there is an off-ramp. There is a bridge to a new destination. And I applaud you both for the work that you're doing. And I look forward to having you back on the show. Does that sound okay?
It sounds lovely. Thank you.
Sounds great. And Richard, one last point, if I may. It is still trending on TikTok, Leaving MAGA. So more and more are discovering us, and I'm so excited for what's going to happen.
Right on, Rich. Right on, Courtney. Thank you both for being with us. We'll have you guys back. Both of you stay safe out there. And anytime you want to call in and talk about things that you're working on, just let us know and we'll get you on, okay?
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
All right, guys, stay safe. Great to be with you. Wow. That's all I'm going to say. Well, I'm going to say a lot more. You know I will. But wow. All right, guys, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have the wonderful Jahmal Cole with us, 773-763-9278. We'll be right back.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. Call now. 800-575-8924. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Still struggling with gas, bloat, constipation, nausea, or diarrhea? Have you tried eliminating foods but felt no change? It's time to call the tummy whisperer, Renee Barish, at Digestive Health Solutions. Renee uses targeted testing to reveal exactly what's happening in your gut. Gut bacteria plays a key role in all your body functions, from cardiovascular regulation to brain function. When the gut is imbalanced, you may experience symptoms that extend beyond the gut, such as anxiety, skin issues, poor sleep, or increased risk for disease. Digestive Health Solution uses advanced testing to identify harmful microbes and evaluate the overall balance of the gut ecosystem. Get insights into your health, digestion, and how your microbiome affects all aspects of your body. Stop suffering. Call Renee now at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That number is 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better. The Tummy Whisperer.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. Breezy winds out of the west increase to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 21. Friday, mostly cloudy, high around 31 degrees. Saturday, chance for snow, high of 32. By Sunday, partial sunshine will see high around 30. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 32.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views. We have been, what a morning. All I can say is wow. I look forward to talking with them again and providing that as an asset and a resource and a tool for people that we need to bring to a different community. And speaking of community, boy, I tell you, our next guest, founder and CEO of My Block, My Hood, My City, Chicago Reader Activist of the Year, Chicago Magazine, Chicago Winner of the Year, Chicago Defender, Men of Excellence honoree, American Red Cross Community Impact Hero Award recipient, and the subject of the featured documentary, A Tiny Ripple of Hope. I'm speaking of none other than Jahmal Cole. Good morning, Jahmal, and welcome to Choose Views.
Hey, thanks for having me. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Great to see you Monday night at the WCTW event. I've been speaking about it all week because I will start off by saying this, and just as a huge applause and high five to you, Jahmal Cole and the rest of the panel, including Mayor Johnson, really spoke to something that actually I just spoke with our previous guest on, and that's the importance of community. And I think one of the most important questions that was presented to you guys Monday was, what is it that we can do to help you in your efforts? And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your response to that question, if you recall that question. And just lean into what you said on Monday with regard to that question.
Yeah, my response was kind of a question to the questioner. What's something simple you can do that'll make a positive impact in your block? What's something, 15 words, what's something simple you can do that'll make a positive impact in your block? Ask not what Mayor Johnson can do for you, but what can you do for Chicago? That gives you a little power. Instead of blaming things on big city government or the mayor's messed up, the alderman's messed up, the senator, what can you do? I've seen people put sunflower gardens in the block and change the whole feel of the block. I've seen people say hello to people at the stop sign every morning, and people look forward to the crossing guard saying hello to them. I've seen people, put positive messages on the bulletproof glass windows at the gas station, and that just changes you're just looking at people that are wanted, and then you see a positive message. It helps. So, you don't always have to know who's on the mayor's cabinet or the president's cabinet, but you can start in your block. And if you start with that little ripple, if everybody creates a ripple in their block, we can create a wave of change, a wave of positive change in Chicago. And so that was my answer. So.
And that message is a global message, Jahmal. And I know you know this, but I'm going to say it for you. That message of that ripple, the pebble in a pond, as I like to call it, is a global message. And to that end, let's now back up a little bit, only because I wanted to make sure you got that out, because it was so profound when you said that on Monday night. But I want to back up a little bit and take us through your journey in terms of, how it started. What was the motivation that got you to say, now's the time for me to do this?
Yeah, man. I came up with nothing, like a lot of people. Heated the house with the oven, lived in motels, and ate at Catholic charities. So much so that I used to be embarrassed in high school to eat from the volunteers, because the volunteers were my high school classmates with the clear gloves. But my father would say, "Hold your head up high when you get that food, man. Don't be afraid to go. Don't be ashamed to do that." So, I never knew that I would grow up to be to run a volunteer-based organization, because I didn't know what a volunteer was. I just knew that people that I saw in community were so helpful to me. And I saw my father mentoring kids at the playgrounds, on the basketball courts, and just he met people where they are and where they were. And he didn't judge them either. He didn't label them a gang member, because he saw the skills that they had and the value they offered. And so I started volunteering at Cook County Jail when I was 23 years old. And it was at Cook County Jail where I realized a lot of people that are in jail for years and top of years had never been downtown. They had never waited for a taxi. They had never, been on an elevator. They see Lake Michigan and they say, "What ocean is that?" Right? And so I knew early on that I wanted to start a program where I took kids downtown and expose them to different businesses so they wouldn't go to jail. And so that's what I did. I also do community development based out of Chatham. Chatham is not even a community, it's a state of mind. And that state of mind is all about block clubs. So since 2007, I've been organizing with block clubs that are small groups of people that need to get the drug house out their block, or need a speed bump, or need the alley cleaned up, or are collecting signatures for a stop sign, or the elders need their block shovel. They have a neuropathy in their wrist and they can't come outside. Like today, they need salt on their sidewalk. And so, I'm just all about organizing with everyday people to get the skills that we have together and get organized to improve the quality of life in our neighborhoods.
It's profound. There's all kinds of words to describe the work that you do. And what I really like to focus in on with what you're doing is the vision that it took and that you have as it relates to how people can come together with just a small little bit of effort. And I applaud that, because a lot of times, folks get caught up in the day-to-day. And one of the gentlemen that called in earlier in the show from California talked about, one of the reasons that sometimes people can't get involved in organizations and do something is because they're working 2 or 3 jobs to get by. And I know that you've encountered that and you see that in the work that you do. But talk a little bit about what you've seen as that pebble in the pond, that little bit of ripple, and just speak to some of the things that you've watched people do that have become part of your organization and how it became, a wave in the community.
Yeah. So people do work 2 or 3 jobs and they're busy, and that's why we try to be on ramp to community engagement for companies that want to be socially involved. And I know there's a big DEI / coming, but we're going to keep going, man. I feel like we're not deterred, we're not turning back. But I feel like what I'm trying to say, man, is basically like you don't have to try to do something like invent history. I don't try to make the news. When I'm going to play basketball in my community and I see that they taking all the rims down at the local park, that matters to me because I was trying to play basketball, right? And so there are people in Chicago that feel like taking down basketball rims will make them. They think basketball courts are magnets for violence. And if you take the rims down, the neighborhoods will be safer. I don't believe that. So I wish I could afford to put the rims back up, but I can't. So what I do is I bring portable basketball rims to Chicago parks that don't have rims. And because I believe 50 to 60 kids per day can play at those courts. And that could be violence prevention, right? Not intervention, but prevention, by giving kids a safe space to have small talk and to learn mentorship. And just how are you going to be the next Derrick Rose if there's no street ball? And so, there's no correlation between basketball and violence. There's no evidence, but some people feel like they see black and brown people playing basketball on courts and they can call up the park district to get the rims down. So I started an initiative called Save Street Ball, where we raise money for portable rims from Dick's Sporting Goods, and we buy those rims and we drop them off at parks and pick them up on Sunday. And because we think kids they deserve that. So that's just something practical that you go outside and see, and people like that type of organizing and activism.
Opportunities for youth. That is a part of the conversation that was had on Monday. Opportunities for people in general in any community, in Chicago or the state or the country. You and Mayor Johnson both spoke to this. If there are not opportunities, or let's put it into the positive, by creating opportunities and making sure that those are there, it stems the tide of a whole bunch of things. Talk about that for a second, if you can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's just releasing the individual capacities of youth. I mean, right now, youth a lot of times are the biggest stakeholders in the community because they're in the community. I mean, adults are leaving for work all the time, and youth, especially in the summer, they're at the house. They're at the apartment, and so and a lot of times they complain about not having a lot of stuff to do on the weekends, and they can't really afford to go on summer vacations. So they can be viewed as assets in the community, and they have the opportunity to participate in constructive community projects. So if you're looking to start a garden on your block, what better way than tap into the middle school or tap into the grade school or tap into the high school, go in there and just ask, hey, I want some students that are interested in this. Can they help? Also, youth, I go to the parks all the time, and I see youth that are sleeping at the park, and they're homeless, and they don't have any shoes on their feet. And I say, hey, what's going on? They say, oh, I just got out of jail. And I say, well, why were you in jail? They say, well, because I stole a car. And I'm like, well, I heard about you guys on TV. You guys have been stealing cars. Like, what kind of car did you steal? Well, I stole a Mustang. I said, well, how does a 13-year-old steal a Mustang? And they're like, well, it's easy, Jahmal. You just break the window, you take off the ignition cap, there's a red wire and blue wire, you twist them together, and it starts the ignition. And I'm like, man, you sound like a Microsoft engineer right now, man. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, if you have the gall, the wherewithal to break a window in the middle of the night, take off an ignition cap in the freezing cold, twist the red wire and blue wire together, you could be building operating systems, man. And so it's really about just showing them better so they can do better and exposing them to things outside of their neighborhood. Because if they're just there, all they're going to want to be is they can't see beyond their block, so they just want to be a rapper or a basketball player. But youth are the people with the ideas and the creativity. We just have to connect them to opportunity.
There are people who are listening to this show that listen to what you just said that probably stood up and applauded the nexus between that young person's brain and where they could go. And that, Jahmal, is something that you have to be, I'm going to tell you right now, you have to be so proud of, and you need to be acknowledged for understanding how close that brain power is to greatness, and to identify it that way and to help a young person understand that that's how close they are. Because I knew I kept to keep my mouth shut. I kind of knew where you were headed, but I wanted you to say that because it's so visually impactful. And it's kind of what Malcolm X said in part about those young men, and it's a damn shame that we're having this conversation almost 50 years later, that could be our next rocket scientist. And you remember the quote that I'm talking about.
Of course.
And so kudos to you for identifying it in today's world. And I have to ask you this other question. This is always the thing that when someone like you is doing the work that you're doing, the pushback. What pushback do you get from whomever, from whatever sources, or from whatever entities?
I would say the biggest pushback is just doubt and fear. I mean, because I stand guard at the door of my thoughts, and I watch what I take in, I watch what I eat, I watch what I read, I watch what news I take in. And so the biggest, if you smile, you make the devil mad. I think that if you start a nonprofit in Chicago, you make them pissed off. And so I think that, I've been shot 2 times in the last 2 years by just being outside doing community work, and been shot twice. And so I feel like I have PTSD now, but I can afford a therapist. A lot of students have been to 15 funerals by the time they're in 9th grade, and they can't afford therapists, but I can. But I would say the biggest, distractor can be awards. Getting awards and thinking that you're, that you know it all, thinking that you're an expert. Compliments can be a big, they can be a distraction as well. I think that, so for me, man, God's got a battery in my back, and I try to start my day off in a community gym on 71st and Jeffrey, where there's no bells and whistles. Everything is old school. There's no feeding it in. You might be doing push-ups, and there might be somebody drinking a Heineken next to you, so somebody might try to sell you a toaster or something like that while you're working out. But it really, when you're amongst the people, you can hear what their needs are and what skills, actually not even needs. You can hear what assets they have. And when you hear what assets they have and what skills they have, it's easy for you to connect them to each other or connect them to institutions or associations that can use their support. So that's I'm all about doing that, releasing individual capacities in people and community.
Keeping your focus on the things that matter. That's my interpretation of what you said about what you take in, what you eat, what you visually eat, what you orally eat, and all the rest. And that's a powerful message, because there's so many distractions. There's so much stuff coming at people right now that you do have to have a pretty strong filter in that space. So thank you for saying it that way. But Jahmal, tell as we wrap up today, because we're going to have you back. This is not the first. This is the first, but it's not the only time, because I knew about you. I started following you because of a good friend of mine that you may recognize. Her name is Natalie Ziemba. And Natalie's up north. She's now a Woodstock city councilwoman and doing great work up there. And so, yes, it's just an amazing person, and is one of your for lack of better words, cheerleaders.
Love it.
But I got to say this to you as we wrap up, or ask you this question as we wrap up, and planning to have you back again. Talk about some upcoming events. I know you got some things happening in the next 60 to 90 days. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we have our third annual hoodie ball, which is our annual fundraiser. It's like a sneaker ball where you wear your favorite sneakers, but it's a hoodie ball where you wear your favorite hoodie. It could be your favorite sports team, your favorite nonprofit, your favorite quote, your favorite color, whatever. April 4th, 7 p.m. at the Bridgeport Arts Center. My Block, My Hood, My City is hosting our third annual hoodie ball. Go online at formyblock.org and grab a ticket. Early bird tickets are on sale right now. All the money we raise, literally, we don't get any federal funding, we don't get city funding, we don't get state funding. All the money that we raise from our hoodie sales and our hoodie balls goes towards buying rims at Dick's Sporting Goods for kids that don't got no activities in the summer. It goes towards taking kids on field trips and exposing them to, if there's 15 currency exchanges in the neighborhood, no banks. If you ask a kid what's a job at a bank, they don't know. We take them to banks. That's where the money is going. It goes towards putting holiday lights on King Drive. Every year we decorate 500 homes for free. It goes towards giving youth summer jobs. So please support our hoodie ball. It's April 4th at 7 p.m. at the Bridgeport Arts Center. And I'm online, formyblock.org, or everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, social media, My Block, My Hood, My City. Grab a ticket, support a good cause, and it's a social impact organization that's focused on assets instead of deficits in Chicago. So.
Awesome. This is a big, wild day, and I appreciate you being with us, Jahmal. Look forward to having you back. As we get closer to the event, we'll have you back again, and we'll talk that up and make sure we get folks out. Does that sound good?
Thank you for having me, man. You be safe and slick out there. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Be well. Peace. Okay, guys, we are blessed to have had some phenomenal guests on today. We're not going to take a break. Let's try to get through a few quick calls before we wrap up. Let's go to Steve in Des Plaines real quickly. Hey, Steve, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Richard? Good morning. My name's Steve. I'm 71, and I used to be a Rush Limbaugh listening, card-carrying, MAGA-type conservative.
Right.
Bought all Rush's books. I'd had his radio on the job site. I'm a tradesman, and that's also my 20s, 30s, into my 40s, and it's only the last 5-7 years. I was up in the VA. I'm a vet, and I had some issues. I had to go up to the hospital up there, and a veteran once said, "How come you're a vet?" And he listed all the accomplishments of liberal democratic thought: 40-hour work week, labor laws, child labor laws. He went on and on and on, and that's what woke me up, quite frankly. It's like, oh my gosh, what have I been supporting? And that's when I did my turnaround, and yes, and that's I guess such self-education is what did it, and I look back and I kind of smile. I was like, well, I was young and dumb then, and now I'm still dumb, but not so young, but educated. And I'll tell you what, I've been inspired by the election. I've been thinking about going back to school for a number of years. I went for 2 years after I got in the Marine Corps in the early 70s, and I went 2 years and I lost interest, and I'm back. In fact, in an hour here, I've got to go to Northeastern. I have a poli-science class at 10:50, and I want to finish my 4-year degree. and maybe do a substitute teacher in my dotage here in my 70s. And
They're never too old, man. They're never too old. See, I mean, listen, the fact that you have done at this point in your life the thing that a lot of people are too stubborn to do, and that's to have some introspection and say, wait a minute, maybe I have been on the wrong path, and have a courage to ask yourself, maybe there is something a little bit different. It takes courage to do that, and particularly as we get chronologically older. That's a fact. Yeah. And so kudos to you, Steve. We're trying to squeeze a few more people in before we wrap up today. But thank you for being with us. All right, let's quickly go to Earl in Hyde Park. Good morning, Earl. Welcome to the show.
Hey, buddy. Nice show this morning. I appreciate your guests and your their particular journeys, and I applaud them, and I hope that we can continue to reach people. But my view on life is a little bit different. My view on life is like the African plains, like where you have gazelles and you have lions. And by that I mean we will always be able to reach certain people. There have always been people who had epiphanies. But as long as we're still preaching hate and bigotry and being self-serving and greedy people, we will always have these inequities in our society. And I applaud what your guests are doing and reaching out and trying to beautify the community and trying to help people and sway minds. But on the other end of that coin is people are still preaching hate, still preaching disinformation.
Yeah.
And if we can figure out how to break that up, then I really think that we can make a difference in this world. Okay, well, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Earl. Stay safe and appreciate your contribution. I think that to Earl's point, there are still people out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful that we had Courtney and Rich on to talk about their journey. No doubt. And not but. There are folks that are still out there that they will attest to even better than we can that are still in that community. We're not going to call it a cult today. They're still in that community and they need to be brought out. And rather than but, the bridge is sometimes necessary for some folks. Henry and I were talking about this during the break, that some folks are just too damn scared to leave and they stay stuck. So sometimes it takes a little bit more encouragement and a little bit more push and maybe a yell to get their attention. So, all right, let's go to Jim real quickly here before we wrap up today. Jim, good morning. Welcome to the show. You got a little bit of time left. What's going on?
Yahoo and Stump, two criminally insane people, are going to divide up Palestine and make it the Riviera. But what's interesting is if they were prosecuted to the letter of the law, either of them, they'd be in El Serbian jail. They'd be in El Salvador in the deepest Calcutta prison. But apparently they can skirt the law, Stumper and Yahoo, and do it gleefully.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They're going to determine the future of Palestinian children from here on out. I don't think so.
There's going to be pushback, Jim, on this, and I know that it sounds. I'm not saying this to sound hopeful, but there will be pushback on this, and there will be other leaders that step forward in this space, because it's not Trump's determination as to what happens. This is the thing that people have to understand. It's not Trump's determination singularly of what's going to happen to the folks in Gaza and in Palestine. We have to understand that. It's not. And it's a horrible situation. It has been prior to the attack. But Trump is not singularly going to determine what happens in that area of the world. I don't believe it. I won't accept it. But I agree with you in the sense that they need to have their butts dragged into a prison way, 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 way far away. Absolutely, I agree with you there, Jim.
Yeah, and remember, 60% of the Palestinian fighters are orphans from the 2014 war.
Right.
60. I mean, that's how deep this goes. So if Adelson and the Zionists, his Stump reads off that script that he had, was written by God knows who, and two criminals agreeing upon it is just absolutely repugnant. Anyway, you have a good morning. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for the call. All right, guys. Wow, what a morning. Thank you for the text. I haven't been able to get to all of them as quickly because I wanted to pay attention to our guests that we had. So I will try to reply to those after we go off the air this morning. Stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show. Stay tuned for Tom Hartman, the professor of everything progressive, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, and of course, Patty Vasquez, my bookend that's driving you home. Henry, man, what a morning. Some great guests, really, really, powerful voices in the spaces that they're in, and quite a way to kick off year 2 of Choose Views. But guys, stay safe today. It's slick out there. Do not take that lightly. Take a deep breath, though. Make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hello, fellow progressives. Attorney Tony Moray here. I want to thank all the WCPT listeners who have put their trust in me. I know that nothing is more important to you than your family, and it is an honor to be trusted to help carry out your wishes. Planning your estate can seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. My 30 years of experience will help guide you through this